From the moment you were born, the world began shaping you. It gave you a name, an identity, a set of rules. You were handed a life that was already planned out in many ways. People taught you how to behave, what to believe, what to fear, and how to succeed. They didn't do this to hurt you. This is just how the system works. But slowly, all of these expectations and labels covered up something much deeper inside you. Your soul's memory. Your soul has always known who you are. That inner part of you never forgot your truth. But your mind was trained to ignore it. It became busy with grades, careers, goals, likes, and follows. The world convinced you that success means fitting in and meeting its standards. And in the process, you became disconnected from your true self. But that quiet feeling inside you, the one that whispers, there's more to this life, that isn't just wishful thinking. It's your soul trying to reach you. That feeling that you're meant for something greater, that you're missing a part of yourself, is your inner self remembering something important. You're not lost. You've just forgotten where you came from. Your soul didn't arrive here by accident. You came into this life with a mission. And even though you may not remember what that mission is yet, it's still inside you. The reason you feel drawn to certain people, places, or even ideas that you can't fully explain is because those are echoes from a deeper part of you, one that has lived many lives before this one. The Akashic records are like a giant, energetic library that holds every experience your soul has ever had. These records aren't written on paper or stored in a building. They live inside your energy, your emotions, and your patterns. They hold the truth about who you've been, what you've learned, and what you came here to do. Every fear you carry, every repeated situation, and even the people you can't stop thinking about, they're all connected to this deeper memory. When you were younger, you were taught to ignore your feelings and trust facts, to choose logic over intuition. You were told that success means climbing ladders, checking boxes, and following rules. But nobody told you how to listen to your soul. In fact, society often discourages that. It teaches us that dreams are unrealistic, that emotions make us weak, and that our worth is based on how much we achieve or how we look to others. Because of this, most of us grow up feeling like something is missing. We chase things outside of ourselves, hoping they'll fill the gap. But the emptiness never fully goes away, does it? That's because the answer isn't out there. It's inside you. And the truth is, your emotional struggles, the relationships that keep repeating, the pain you can't seem to escape, it's not all from this lifetime. Some of it is energy you've carried from past lives. You might not remember the events, but the energy of those experiences stays with you. It shows up as fear, self-doubt, or emotional blocks that don't seem to make sense. That's why healing can feel so overwhelming. You're not just healing what happened in your childhood, you're healing the unfinished stories of your soul. Past versions of you may have experienced betrayal, loss, or trauma. Maybe you weren't able to speak your truth in a past life. Maybe you were punished for your gifts or your voice. That energy doesn't disappear. It follows you lifetime after lifetime until it's seen and released. This is where soul contracts come in. Before you were born, your soul chose certain lessons to learn. It also chose people, other souls, to help you grow. Some of them would love you, support you, and lift you up. Others would challenge you, trigger you, even hurt you, not to punish you, but to help you evolve. Some of the most painful relationships you've had might have been planned by your soul for the purpose of deep transformation. You may feel a strong connection to someone and not understand why. Or you might feel pulled toward a place for no logical reason. These are signs of soul memory. Your soul remembers even when your conscious mind does not. It remembers where you've been, who you've met, and what you've promised to learn. And then there are energetic cords, unseen ties that connect you to other people. These cords form in powerful relationships, especially when there are strong emotions involved. If someone still affects your energy long after they've left your life, if thinking about them drains you or keeps you stuck, there may be an energetic cord still connecting you. These cords aren't always negative, but when they keep you from moving forward, they need to be released. You were never taught this. You were taught to push through pain, to get over it, to stay busy and move on. But emotional pain is not random. It's information. It's your soul speaking to you in the only language it can, through feelings, dreams, patterns, and intuition. Most of us weren't given the tools to understand this kind of inner world, so we feel stuck. We repeat the same cycles. We attract similar situations. We blame ourselves, thinking something must be wrong with us. But you're not broken. You're just being invited to remember something deeper. Once you start seeing your emotional patterns as messages instead of problems, everything changes. Instead of asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective is powerful. It opens doors. It brings healing. And it starts to reconnect you with the truth of who you are. This path of remembering isn't easy. It's not something most people talk about. In fact, many will think you're crazy for even asking these questions. That's because they're still asleep, still living by the script they were handed. But if you're reading this, something inside you is already waking up. And once that awakening begins, it's hard to go back. The Akashic Records are not just a tool to explore your past. They're a guide to help you shape your future. When you access this deeper part of yourself, you begin to understand your purpose. You start to make decisions that feel aligned, not just logical. You stop settling for relationships, careers, or lifestyles that drain your energy. Instead, you start choosing what feeds your soul. And most importantly, you stop seeing your pain as something to avoid. You start seeing it as a doorway to freedom. Because pain, when explored, becomes wisdom. And every time you face a wound with courage and curiosity, you free a piece of yourself that's been trapped for lifetimes. This is the journey of remembering who you are, not as the world sees you, but as your soul knows you to be. And once you remember, you can't unsee it. You begin to notice the signs, the patterns, the synchronicities. You start to feel supported, even during hard times. Because now, you know you're not alone. You never were. Your soul chose this life for a reason. The struggles, the heartbreaks, the losses, they were not punishments. They were invitations. Each one was a moment designed to bring you back to yourself, to wake you up, to remind you that you are more than a job title, a role, or a set of achievements. You are a soul on a mission. And even if you don't fully understand that mission yet, you're already on the path. You're already doing the work. Just by asking questions, just by reading these words, you are beginning the process of reconnection. You don't have to climb a mountain or meditate in a cave to find your truth. You just have to listen. Pay attention to what your emotions are telling you. Notice what lights you up. Trust your intuition, even when it doesn't make sense. And most of all, give yourself permission to let go of the person you were taught to be, so you can become who you truly are. Before you were even born, before your body existed or your name was spoken, your soul made a choice. It chose this life, not by accident, not because it had no other options, but because it wanted to grow. Your soul wanted to learn, to feel, and to experience something that only this exact life could offer. This journey you're on, with all its ups and downs, isn't just random. It's part of a bigger plan, one that your soul agreed to. You didn't come here just to survive, pay bills, and go through the motions. You came here to discover something powerful, something sacred. Every difficulty you faced, your heartbreaks, the losses, the disappointments, The dreams that seem so far away, they weren't mistakes. They are part of the path your soul chose so it could wake up and remember its own strength. Most people go through life feeling like they're stuck, always reacting to what happens around them. One moment they're healing, and the next they're hurt again. But once you start to look at your life from the perspective of your soul, things begin to make more sense. Your challenges aren't punishments. They're lessons. They're like classes in a school your soul signed up for. A betrayal isn't just pain. It teaches you where your boundaries need to be stronger. A delay in your plans isn't the universe being cruel. It's teaching you patience. A broken heart isn't the end of the world. It's showing you how to truly value and love yourself. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to remember who you really are. Even when life makes you forget. Even when the world tells you you're not good enough. Deep down, your soul remembers the truth. You were born with inner gifts, special abilities, strengths, and talents. But life often teaches us to hide them. We're told to be logical, to play it safe, to stop dreaming. So we push our gifts down, forget about them, or convince ourselves they aren't important. But those gifts have never really left you. They've just been waiting. Maybe you felt a quiet voice inside you, a feeling that you're meant for more. Maybe you've had strong emotions or strange dreams you couldn't explain. These aren't coincidences. They are signs from your soul trying to get your attention. Your energy, your emotional and spiritual aura holds a lot of stories. It carries things from this life and maybe even from past lives. Over time, this energy can get heavy. It can be blocked by fear, stress, trauma, or even by other people's opinions and energy. That's why sometimes you might feel foggy, disconnected, or unsure of yourself. It's not that your light is gone, it's just being covered up. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to do more. What you need is space, space to breathe, to be, and to let go of what no longer serves you. You need to clear out the noise. Release the fears. Reclaim the parts of yourself that were told they weren't enough. As you do that, your inner gifts start to show up again. You'll feel more connected to your intuition, that inner knowing that always seems to know the truth. You'll start noticing signs, patterns, or feelings that seem to guide you. You'll begin to feel like life is talking with you, not just happening to you. And here's the thing, you'll stop feeling the need to chase things or prove yourself. You'll start attracting the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. Life flows differently when you're in alignment with your soul. You move from trying to force things to allowing them to unfold naturally. Finding your power isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that can't hold your light. You were meant to remember the truth, the wisdom, the power already inside you. This journey of awakening doesn't begin in a peaceful place. It often starts when things fall apart. Maybe you felt heartbreak, loss, confusion, or a sudden change that turned your world upside down. Those moments are painful, but they're also openings. They break down the old so the new can rise. Through those cracks in your heart, light can enter. You begin to ask deeper questions. You start to feel more. You become more you. That deep pain you felt, it's not just about this life. Some of it comes from further back. Maybe from past lifetimes. Maybe from generations before you. Pain that told you to stay silent, to hold back, to play small. Pain that made you believe your truth was dangerous or your power was too much. But your soul chose to return in this life to change that story. Your soul didn't come here empty-handed. It came with codes, spiritual blueprints that contain your gifts, your lessons, your purpose. But they aren't loud or flashy. They don't scream for attention. They live in your quiet moments, your creativity, your sensitivity. They show up in your empathy, your dreams, your intuition. For a long time, the world may have told you these things are weaknesses, but they're not. They're the key. You may feel things deeply. You may cry easily or sense people's emotions before they say a word. You may get overwhelmed in crowds or feel out of place in the normal world. But none of that is wrong. It means your soul is sensitive, and that sensitivity is your superpower. It helps you feel more, connect more, and understand more than most people can. We live in a world that values certainty, logic, and speed. But your soul works differently. It moves through energy, intuition, and divine timing. Maybe some of your dreams haven't happened yet. That doesn't mean they won't. It means they're waiting for the version of you who's still unfolding. Your soul isn't in a rush. It's not measuring your life by the same timeline the world does. It's here for the long game, here for truth, not quick fixes. When you begin to say yes to your soul, yes to remembering, yes to healing, yes to being seen, your whole world can shift. Not because everything outside of you changes instantly, but because you do. You start to show up with more confidence. You trust yourself more. You're not afraid to take up space. And that energy, your energy, starts to attract everything aligned with it. You don't need anyone's permission to begin. You don't need to wait until you're fully healed or perfectly ready. You just have to say yes to the journey. Say yes to letting your soul lead. Say yes to the gifts that are already inside you. They're not lost. They're just waiting for you to stop hiding from them. Awakening can feel lonely at times. It can feel confusing or overwhelming, but you're not alone. Many people are starting to wake up, just like you. And when you begin to live from your truth, you give others permission to do the same. Your light helps light the way. Your healing helps create space for others to heal. This is how the world changes, not all at once, but soul by soul. So if you feel broken, lost, or unsure, take a breath. You're not failing. You're awakening. And that's the most sacred thing your soul came here to do. Your story, with all its wounds and wisdom, is the key to your purpose. You're not here to live a life that just looks good on the outside. You're here to live a life that feels true on the inside. You didn't forget who you are by accident. You forgot so that remembering could be part of your transformation. So that when you rise, it's not from luck or chance, it's from truth, from choice, from alignment. This is your path. This is your power. And it's already yours. Most people don't truly change when everything in life is going smoothly. Real change often happens when life falls apart. It might seem unfair, but it's actually how we're built. Discomfort pushes us to ask important questions. It shakes us out of our routines and makes us face what we usually avoid. And in that disturbance, something meaningful begins to form. Maybe you found yourself asking, why is this happening to me? Or what did I do to deserve this? Those are normal questions when things feel like they're falling apart. But there's another question that might be more helpful. What is this pain trying to teach me? Because deep inside every painful experience is an opportunity to grow. It may not come right away. It may not be clear or easy. But the shift is possible, especially when you stop trying to escape the pain and start listening to what it's showing you. Pain isn't here to punish you. It's more like a sign pointing you toward a new direction. It wakes you up. It makes you look at your life differently. And that awakening can lead you to a truer version of yourself, the one you may have forgotten along the way. The job that made you feel empty or stressed wasn't just a mistake. It was showing you what you're not meant to keep doing. The relationship that broke your heart wasn't a waste of time. It was a lesson, a reflection of what needs healing. Pain has a way of cutting through the noise. It removes the distractions and brings clarity. And in that raw space left behind, something deep and ancient begins to rise. That's your true self, not the version of you that was trying to fit in, please others, or just survive, but the real you that knows love isn't something to earn, it's something you already are. Even your body remembers what your heart has tried to forget. Things like migraines, constant tiredness, tight muscles, or stomach issues might not just be physical problems. They can be signs that your emotions need attention. Grief you never let out, anger you were told to hide, family pain passed down through generations. All of it can live inside the body. You're not making it up. You're feeling it. Your body is carrying what your soul hasn't yet let go. Pain isn't just something to fix. It's something to learn from. If you follow it deep enough, it will lead you to the parts of yourself that were silenced, forgotten, or pushed away. These parts of you are still there, waiting for your attention, waiting for you to come back to them. And when you do, that's when the transformation begins. It's not about getting rid of pain. It's about seeing it differently. You begin to understand that what felt like destruction was actually transformation. The fire didn't destroy you, it changed you. You didn't break into pieces. You broke open. And that opening makes space for something new, something more real. So if you're feeling broken, tired, or like you're carrying something heavy you've never fully faced, know this: you're not too late. You're not too far gone. You're not failing. You're growing. Your soul doesn't need you to be perfect or fearless. It just needs you to be honest, to sit with what hurts instead of running from it, to trust that something meaningful is being rebuilt inside the pieces of what fell apart. Sometimes the pain isn't a sign that you're lost. Sometimes it means you finally stepped onto your real path. You might not see it yet, but your soul knows. And deep down, you might already feel it too. That strange pull towards certain people, places, or ideas. That feeling like you've been here before, even if you can't explain how. Those vivid dreams or powerful moments that leave you with a sense of knowing those aren't just your imagination. That's your soul remembering. Long before you became who you are today, your soul had its own story. It held onto wisdom, memories, and pieces of truth. All of that still lives inside you, even if you've forgotten it. You don't need anyone else to tell you who you are. You already know. The knowledge is just buried under the noise of daily life and what the world told you to be. The deep spiritual knowledge, some call the Akashic Records, isn't locked away in a far-off place. It's inside you, in your body, your feelings, your gut instincts. Every time you get goosebumps, every time your intuition tells you something, every time a song, a piece of art, or a random phrase feels deeply personal, that's your soul trying to speak to you. But we live in a world that teaches us to doubt that kind of wisdom. We're taught to only trust what can be proven, measured, or explained. So we push those feelings aside. We call them coincidences. We ignore the nudges. And when we do that, we lower the volume of our soul's voice. But it never stops trying. It shows up again and again through the beauty around us, the connections we feel, the moments that take our breath away. Have you ever wondered why a certain culture or time period feels familiar to you, even if you've never studied it? Or why you meet someone and instantly feel like you've known them forever? That's not just a feeling. That's memory. That's your soul reminding you of who you've been and maybe who you're meant to be again. And here's the truth: you can't pretend to be in alignment. You can pretend to be happy. You can achieve success on the outside. But if you're not in touch with your soul's truth, something will always feel off. Something will always be missing. That's because purpose isn't something outside of you. It's already inside, waiting to be remembered. The more you let go of the pressure to be what others expect, the more you get back to your true self. Awakening isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it feels like everything is falling apart. One day your life makes sense, and the next it doesn't. The dreams you used to chase lose their meaning. The people you were once close to start feeling distant. While your soul is growing, your body and nervous system might feel overwhelmed. You may feel tired all the time. Crowds may become too much. Emotions might swing wildly between joy and sadness. Old memories could suddenly resurface. You might notice repeating numbers or have strange, meaningful dreams. These experiences might seem random, but they're not. They're signs. They're part of your transformation. Your body is trying to catch up with your soul. That's why it feels hard. You're not just dealing with today's emotions. You're clearing old energy, some of it from years ago, maybe even from past lives or generations. This isn't just a breakdown. It's a reset, a full system reboot. And yes, it's messy. It might feel scary, but it's leading you back to who you really are. You're not alone in this. Many people go through their awakening quietly, thinking they're the only ones feeling this way. They may even believe they're going crazy, but they're not, and neither are you. What you're feeling is real. What you're experiencing has a purpose. It will pass if you allow yourself to feel it, rather than fight it. This is also where your spiritual support steps in, whether you believe in spirit guides, ancestors, or your higher self. These forces are always communicating with you. And when you begin to awaken, you become more sensitive to their messages. They come through signs, sudden ideas, meaningful conversations, or people showing up at just the right moment. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to stay open. If you're feeling like the world you once knew doesn't match what's happening inside you, you're not imagining things. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. You're not becoming someone else. You're returning to your truest self. Your soul is powerful. It never forgot who you really are. It's been waiting patiently for you to remember. That whisper inside you, the one telling you that there's more, that you're meant for something deeper, that voice is real. So if you're in the middle of a hard chapter right now, please know it's not the end of your story. It's a turning point, a sacred shift. You don't need to rush through it. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to keep showing up, honestly, gently, and with trust. You're not here just to survive. You're here to awaken. And you're doing it, even when it doesn't feel like it. You're not being asked to have all the answers. You're simply being invited to listen, not to your fear, not to the noise around you, but to the quiet voice inside. That calm, steady voice beneath the stress and panic. That voice is your inner wisdom, and it will never ask you to turn your back on yourself. It's normal to have moments where nothing makes sense. You might question who you are, why you're here, or where your life is going. You might even feel like you're losing your mind. But that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means you're changing. Growth often feels uncomfortable. It's like being in a tight space you've outgrown, a cocoon that feels too small, confusing, even painful. But remember, cocoons don't last forever. They're a part of becoming something new. What's forming through all of this discomfort is something powerful and real. It's the version of you that's been waiting to come alive. So be gentle with yourself. Don't feel bad about saying no. Take time to rest. Be still when you need to. You're not lazy, you're changing. Your energy is shifting. Your whole system is resetting. And the parts of your life that don't fit who you're becoming, they'll naturally fall away. Let them fall. You don't need to hold on to what's already crumbling. You don't need to shrink yourself to fit into spaces you've outgrown. This isn't about falling apart. It's about letting go so something better can take its place. You might feel lost or confused right now, but that's temporary. Over time, things will become clear again. You'll begin to understand that the chaos wasn't a mistake. It wasn't something to avoid. It was actually guiding you all along. You haven't been falling behind. You've been catching up to your truth, to your purpose, to your soul. You weren't meant to just follow the crowd. You came here to lead, not by being loud or bossy, but by being real. Real leadership doesn't always look like being in charge or having a big audience. It looks like living your truth, even when it's hard. It's about staying true to yourself, even when the world doesn't understand. It's how you live that inspires others, not just what you say. This is the moment you stop trying to please everyone. You stop chasing success based on what other people think. You stop living according to someone else's map. Instead, you start building your life from the inside out. When you align your actions with who you truly are, life starts to meet you halfway. It begins to flow. And that kind of power doesn't come from trying to control everything. It comes from being in sync with yourself. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions all line up with your truth, you enter a state that some people call flow. But it's even deeper than that. It's soul alignment. It's a peaceful knowing. You don't need to prove or explain yourself. You don't need permission to feel what you feel or to do what feels right. You just move forward with quiet confidence. And from that place, everything changes. You start to draw in the people, opportunities, and experiences that match your truth, not the roles you were taught to play or the masks you used to wear. Your purpose isn't something you have to go out and find. It's not a specific job title or a list of goals to check off. Your purpose is already inside you. It's hidden in the things you love, the things that break your heart, the things you've always been drawn to. It shows up in the patterns you're here to heal and the impact you're here to make. You don't need to hustle for your purpose. You need to remember it. You need to live it, moment by moment, day by day. That's what it means to embody your purpose. And that is real leadership. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that brings light to the places people have forgotten themselves. You might feel like you've been broken or lost, but that's not the truth. You've simply been buried under other people's stories, stories about who you should be, what you should do, and how you should live. Those stories were never yours. They were placed on you, layer by layer, until you started to believe them. But underneath all of that, the real you has always been there. The version of you that knows. The version that remembers. The version that leads with love and trust instead of fear. This journey you're on, it's not about becoming spiritual. You already are. It's not about becoming worthy. You always were. It's about clearing out the lies you believed and returning to who you've always been. It's about honoring your energy instead of draining it. It's about trusting your truth instead of hiding it. And when you do that, you don't just change your life, you shift timelines. You break cycles. You become the person your ancestors dreamed of. You no longer need to carry the guilt or the fear of being too much or not enough. That weight was never yours. As you begin to release it, you make room for something new, clarity, connection, peace. And in that space, something sacred returns. Not something from outside you, but something from within. The feeling of being truly at home in yourself. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've stopped abandoning who you are just to make others comfortable. This awakening you're going through, it's not an ending. It's a beginning. The start of a life that's guided by your soul, not by fear. A life built on trust, not on stress. On openness, not on pretending. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need anyone's permission to begin. You already have everything you need. The wisdom, the timing, the guidance. It's all there, waiting to be remembered. You don't have to walk this path alone either. There are others walking it with you. Some you've met, some you haven't yet. And in the spaces where you've been told you don't belong, you'll find truth waiting for you. So if something in this message speaks to your heart, it's because your heart recognizes the truth in it. It's ready. You're ready. Ready to stop hiding. Ready to start living. Ready to lead, not with noise, but with presence. Not with ego, but with love. The truth is, you were never off track. You were simply shedding what no longer fit. The Akashic records remind us of this. They don't give us a new identity. They help us remember the one we've always had. They show us how the pain and the confusion were actually part of the plan. They help us make sense of the chaos and connect it to our growth. Your soul doesn't work in straight lines. It speaks in cycles, in patterns, in feelings. It brings you back to the same lessons until you're ready to fully understand them. That's not failure, it's the rhythm of your healing. You've probably been taught that the answers are somewhere outside you in the future, in a course, in someone else's opinion. But the real answers, they live inside you. They've been there all along. They show up in your intuition, in the quiet moments, in the parts of you that the world told you to ignore. But your soul can't be silenced forever. It rises. It rises through your grief, through your questions, through your longing for something more. This journey you're on isn't about doing more. It's about being more of who you truly are. And when you start living from that place, everything shifts. You move through life differently. You love differently. You lead differently. You were never meant to stay small. You were meant to rise. And now you're starting to.